Hi.
Good evening, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Gotta fix the hair when I actually see me on camera.
Yeah. It's time for Midweek Mondays or Midweek Mountains on Wednesdays, not Mondays.
That is a mouthful. Here, put the comments on in case anybody says anything. Yeah. I gotta keep him in line, you know.
Yep. But I'm Corey.
Oh, and I'm Lori.
And we're the Mountains to Sea crew.
Yes.
Getting packed up because we are.
Oh, look, nails are done
in a few days. Yep.
Yes, our cruise leaves on Sunday. Today's Wednesday, but we leave Friday to go to Florida.
Had to fly into Florida a little bit early because they canceled our flight.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah. Well, what I think happened, because, you know, they didn't really tell you why they canceled it. Well, we were supposed to fly into West Palm.
Yeah.
And they only fly from where we live in Western North Carolina. They only fly on a certain day and a certain time. So there's like only one flight. And so we booked it. But then Hurricane Helene came through and other things, which... coincidental? No, probably not. And so they canceled the flight they were supposed to go in on late Friday because it was going to be, I think, like Friday night or something like that.
Right.
And when I went to go check flights, it showed that they were no longer flying on Fridays. And so for us to go through West Palm, I wonder if I should check that. We had to leave on Thursday, and we couldn't add an extra day to our trip. No, I purposely did that.
Check the phone.
I'm sorry.
I'll silence mine. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, normally I don't get bothered, but when I do, that's why I look.
So anyway, we're flying out Friday morning. So we got a couple of days to spend with Lori's dad in Boca.
Speaking of my dad.
Speaking of her dad, it
was
her dad
him.
trying to call us.
He should know better.
He should know better.
I thought it was work.
Yeah, Lori thought it was work. Nope, not work.
No. And so when I went looking, you know, I was trying to figure it out. So I started looking at Fort Lauderdale, because they said that if you were canceled, that you potentially could get whatever was available. But I was like, I hope that's just not out of West Palm.
Like the same price or something, right?
They didn't say anything about price, or they just said that, you know, that they would take care of whatever it was.
Okay.
And so when I was looking, Fort Lauderdale was more money. And I was like, oh gosh, I hope I don't have to pay extra this and that. But long story short, they honored it, and we instead, you know, now we're going to Fort Lauderdale and out of Fort Lauderdale, but they didn't charge us anything. They just changed it for us. And
nice.
So we're leaving earlier on Friday.
A little bit earlier on Friday, so we're gonna be
I get a little extra time.
Missing a little bit more work. But a little bit more time with your dad. We've got a day and a half in Boca.
Guess what we're gonna do?
Yeah, it's only one of the capitals of pickleball in the U.S. Lots of the pro stars that live in Boca. I'm sure they're not going to be at the public course. So
yeah, well, that's okay. I don't really want to play against star players.
No.
But so yeah.
So anyway, so we're going down to flying into Fort Lauderdale. We're cruising out of Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
On Sunday.
This was the big birthday cruise, group cruise that we were hammering out there for months and months.
This is a birthday cruise that
it's like a year and a half, I think.
I think it was the first of this year we started talking about it and advertising it. So
advertising it more, yeah.
Guess nobody wants to go with us. Only a few people.
There's 10 of us, and we've got some goodies. So we forgot. We're gonna have to video, you know, get all that stuff.
So you guys will get to see that the next time. G'day.
Hello, welcome in.
Welcome in.
We're just talking about how excited we are for our trip on Sunday.
Yes.
We're leaving Friday.
So we're boarding Holland America's New Amsterdam.
Yes.
And we are going to Nassau, Bahamas. San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Yes.
St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Turks and Caicos.
Yes.
Grand Turk.
Yes.
And Turks and
Yes,
Caicos. And then coming back. It's a small ship. We were on it in Alaska.
I know. I can't wait to see the difference between Alaska. The one thing I could say right off the bat is that the pools are going to be fuller.
Yeah, I'm sure the pools are going to be much more in use.
Because we used the adults only deck, which was I guess it was in the back. Yeah, because it was by our own.
Some people actually got in the pool out in that 50-degree weather.
Well, they got in the hot tubs more than the pool. I think maybe one person, 2 people I think I saw get in the pool. So
it's not not terribly cold, and I'm sure they keep the pools fairly warm, but who knows?
Who knows?
But anyway, so New Amsterdam apparently made the Panama Canal transit and came back over to the Caribbean for the winter, and so we'll be getting on her on Sunday.
And my nails are orange. I'm ready for the orange party.
Yeah. And we've got orange shirts. Let's see. Down under says, just ask the captain to turn right and sail down across the Pacific to check us out.
That will happen someday.
One day. I can't wait.
Yeah. And when we get ready to do it, we'll be sure to message you to ask you like some tips and where we should go, what we should do.
Hey, Scott from Controversial Cruising.
Hello, welcome in. Good to see you.
Talking about your favorite
good
subject
to hear
tonight.
You. What? Oh, controversial?
Controversies in cruising.
Yeah, so if you have something specific that you want us to talk about other than our list, feel free to put it in the comments.
Absolutely. So if you missed last week's show,
it was a controversial doozy.
Yeah, we talked about all the different kinds of stuff. But we just kind of had our list of things to talk about.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, is that going to get us through an hour? I'm not sure. So what do? I jump on Chat GPT and I said, hey, what are some of the controversies about cruising?
Yeah. So really quick to recap for those of you that didn't catch us or maybe just want to recap, we talked about, and this is just bullet points, germs, cleanliness, being stranded without enough lifeboats, pricing increases, and chair hogs, and coffee.
Yeah, we talked about coffee a little bit.
Coffee, yeah. And the chair hog. So we can revisit if you want, or we can move on to other things.
Yeah.
Want to move on to other things?
Yeah, I thought we'd let's just go down this list, see if we have any comments about it. All right.
There's some that I'm like, nah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So number one on the list.
Kind of move it over a little bit. So it looks like we're looking at them when we're talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me move this over a bit.
Okay.
So number one on the list is the environmental impact of cruising.
So the actual description after that is the carbon footprint, waste management, and fuel usage of large cruise ships. How green is cruising really?
Right. Well, I know that there's a big push for shore power for a lot of the ships.
Yes.
So that they can just plug in when they're in port, and then they're not running those engines to produce the electricity and everything all day long.
What happens if they lose power?
I'm sure their systems will automatically cut over. But
okay.
And then a lot of the newer ships, the brand new ships, are using LNG, so natural gas. So
LNG, Mr.
Liquid
fancy,
natural gas. Yeah.
Fancy words over here.
Which a little bit cleaner. So
yeah. There you go.
All right, so
we interrupt this program for a group cruise shout out here.
Yeah. Down Under Cruisers says we're looking at creating another Ducks group cruise.
Down Under Cruises
in the South Pacific in early 2027. What do you guys think?
I think it sounds great as long as it's not April. If it's April,
January, February, March.
Perfect.
2027. That's far enough out to give us time to plan. We don't have anything booked.
Nope. We haven't done anything for 2027. So
nope. Just had one book for 2026 so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we have not.
We haven't even talked about that one yet.
Nope. But yes. So
that sounds interesting.
Yes. Keep us posted, please.
you know, that's going to take some time to save up for, because it'll probably cost us $5,000 to get airplane tickets over there.
Why don't you just minimize that?
All right.
He's distracting me with some cowboy on a white horse.
Okay.
You can take that.
Yep. So
nothing on the environmental. Okay.
Yeah, no comments on that. So yeah, I mean, they're working on it. Yeah,
I think
it's one
that
of those
it becomes
like
more controversial in the
know.
ports and the people that live there. And
that's
don't
one of the
want to keep breathing all that stuff in, or
yeah, that's kind of one of the other controversies here. All right, Down Under says it would be around January, February. April is too special a month for us to be cruising. Yes. April is our month to go to St. Martin. So
that's why it would conflict with us. But yeah, that sounds great, Down Under.
Yeah. It does sound good. All right. So, anything else about environmental impact of cruising? You know, there are some people that want to ban cruising because it's just leisure travel and everything else. And it's like, well, you know, it's
and
you're going to travel somehow.
As a town or an area that depends on that tourism.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted on that, because I see both sides, but for us as business owners in a tourist driven area, I mean, we depend on that. And so, yes, I would like to always do it so it's what's best for everybody. But at the same time, when you're counting on that extra revenue and that extra traffic,
right?
It's you want to.
Well, that's
keep it
something different entirely.
Well, no, because if they make a lot of those environmental changes, or they don't allow them in because they won't.
And as I said, that's a different subject, which we'll get to down here.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
Jumping the gun, y'all.
A little bit. All right. So number 2 on this list that ChatGPT came up with was the labor conditions for cruise ship workers. Working hours, pay, and living conditions for crew members are often scrutinized. I'll say this, and I think I've said it before. I worked on a steamboat, which was basically a cruise boat, because we had passengers and they had cabins, and we would have 4-day, 7-day, 12-day cruises going up and down the Mississippi River. This was 35 years ago, pretty close to it. And yeah, the hours were brutal. But
how was the pay?
We're talking 12, 13 hours a day, 7 days a week. Luckily, we were on six weeks on and 2 weeks off on that particular boat. Pay, well, the base pay that the company paid was not much, especially for those kind of hours. I mean, we got maybe $200 for a week,
and so,
but you made your money through tips, because I was a bartender, so
right.
I was probably making close to, at that time, $1,000 a week, which 35 years ago, that was a lot of money.
Right.
So,
and for me personally, I don't know much about the pay or the living conditions or anything like that. I do know that they work a lot of hours, but on a cruise ship, you really don't have. Maybe you don't have much to do. Maybe you want to work. Maybe you make overtime. I don't know.
Nope.
So I can't.
It's going to be a flat rate.
Yeah.
This is what you get paid, and you work as many hours as they schedule you for. But they criticize cruise ships for that, but that's not just on cruise ships. That's maritime industry. And maritime, you're normally, that's the way it works. It's like you got people working 24 hours a day. So you got 12 on, 12 off, or 6 on, 6 off, or, things like that. So That's pretty standard in maritime. They just moved it over to cruise ships, and people, like us that work on land, are like, well, that's insane. How can you work that many hours? Well, when your food's prepared for you and it's no cost, so crew doesn't.
Well, for them, they don't get
they don't have to pay for their food. I know that much for sure. If they do have a crew bar, at least on a lot of the ships. So if they've got time off, they can go to the bar, buy a drink. I think some of the other things, like if they had sodas, or they have to pay for that. I know they do have to pay for internet access. I've seen that on a video or two.
Well, and sometimes they have parties and stuff too. And
and a lot of times they'll work 6 months on, a month or so off, right? Something like that. And most of the folks that are doing this, is, at least when you look at your cabin stewards and your wait staff, and probably a lot of the other folks, they're from countries where you're making a fortune working in this industry, and they send it back home to support their family. So I think even for an American, or in more developed parts of the world, you can still make a decent amount of money doing it. If
I can't talk intelligent about this, because I don't know. So
the hours are brutal, but what else you got to do? I mean, you don't have a lot.
And if they don't want to do it, then other people are in line that will do it.
That's for sure.
There's always people. That's the controversial part, I guess.
Yeah. So Down Under Cruiser says, if they ban cruising, they should ban train travel, coach travel, plane travel. Yeah, they all impact the environment for sure. And when you look at the limited number of people that you can get on an airplane and fly them somewhere, you're probably, as far as an environmental impact goes, that's probably, as much or more than a cruise ship would put out.
Yeah. And I will say that I was staying in Manhattan for about a week or two when my mom got sick. And let me tell you what, I was blowing my nose and it was black. And I just walked a couple blocks back and forth. And so that's just environment for being in a city.
Okay.
Yeah. Little fun facts.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So number 3 on here is what we were talking about a little bit earlier: over tourism and popular ports.
This is what you wanted to wait for.
Yeah. Okay. The influx of cruise passengers can overwhelm smaller popular destinations, raising concerns about among locals and travelers alike. So we've seen it here in the past year or so. I think Amsterdam is looking at some kind of limits, and Amsterdam's not a small city; it's a big city, but they're looking. I think they're actually looking at moving the cruise port away from the city itself, and then you'd have to take some other transportation into the city. What was it? Bar Harbor, Maine. They were.
It was Maine.
Yeah, they were trying to do some kind of limit, and I think it passed. And I think they were limiting it to like 500 passengers a day or something silly like that. So, none of the ships that go up there would even be able to stop. And Juneau, Alaska, I think, was working on something like that. Or at least they tried to pass something. I saw something recently where I think it was Royal Caribbean was building a new pier on the other side of the island that's across the inlet there from Juneau. So you wouldn't even be able to see Juneau from where the ships would. Huh? What?
Said you're getting very monotone. We gotta pep him up a little bit more.
Yeah. I was up kind of late last night.
Yeah.
Didn't get much sleep.
So like I said, with the tourism that we depend on,
right.
Yes, I can see both sides. Being someone that lives in an area, they would want some restrictions, but at the same time, for businesses,
it depends on what you do for a living, I would think. If you work at a grocery store, or you're doing something that is completely not impacted by tourism, then maybe you'd want to limit it so that you didn't have to deal with all the people all over the place all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, look at the impact that's going to have on the town as a whole and everybody that works there, and all of the businesses that depend on that tourism.
Right.
Like I know in St. Martin, we know what days the cruise ships are in St. Martin, because we've got a timeshare right there on Airplane Beach. And
it's called Maho Beach.
I know, but people know it as Airplane Beach.
Know.
And when the cruise ships are in, that beach is packed. It is wall to wall people.
It is.
So if we want to go to the beach, we'll go out there on a day when the cruise ships aren't in. Same thing with,
or we'll travel around the island,
or travel around the island when the cruise ships aren't in.
There's less traffic.
Go to Phillipsburg, where the cruise ships dock, on days when there aren't any cruise ships, just because for us it's easier. We don't have to fight the crowds. I'm not a big crowd person anyway. I don't really like fighting crowds, and hey, if you can have the whole town to yourself with not so many tourists,
but again,
that's great.
They thrive on the tourism. So
exactly.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah.
I can see the controversial.
And if there's
in that.
And
sure.
There are some businesses that'll be closed if we go over there on a day when there aren't any ships in port. So you kind of miss out on that as well.
Yeah. All right. Next up,
dynamic pricing models. So the cost of cruises fluctuate. Sometimes it can frustrate people, and people debate about how fair that is, which seems kind of silly to me. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Talking layman's terms, I don't understand. Like, I'm reading this going, the opaque fluctuating cost of cruise fares.
It's like anything else. I mean, you buy an airplane ticket, you buy it today, or you buy it a month from now.
Well, if you don't want to pay it, you don't pay it.
Yeah, but I mean, that price is going to change.
Yeah.
So you look for what it costs at a certain time, and then you see if that price changes over time and when's the best time to make that purchase.
Don't they honor if you buy said package or whatever it is, and you find a price that's less, which never happens, or at least I've never seen it. But don't they say you can refund that and do it again?
Well,
which kind of stinks, because then first you have to go through the whole refund process, and then you have to buy it again.
You're talking about buying a package on a cruise ship, like a drinks package or something like that.
Is it not your ticket?
Your ticket, so you've already bought that. You can't get a refund on that because you already put a deposit down. The only thing you could do would be to contact the cruise company and see if they could adjust that price. But it's like anything else, it's supply and demand. So, a week before a cruise leaves, they may drop the rates on the rooms to next to nothing so that they can sell out the rest of that ship. That used to be the case. Anymore, it's rare not to have a ship completely sold out before it sails.
Yeah, they overbook now.
Right. A lot of times they are overbooking. So that's can be a bit of a concern. It hasn't impacted us yet. But although on my very first cruise, I was supposed to have a certain cabin that I had picked on a certain deck, and got on board and they're like, "Oh, we've upgraded you to a cabin in a very different part of the ship." Not really where I wanted to be. So
you should have told them no, you didn't want it.
They'd already said it was too bad. This is an upgrade. This is a better room. So,
but it's not.
Wow.
Controversy here.
Controversies. Yeah.
Like, who's to say that you're giving me a better room? Maybe I don't like that room.
That first cruise, it was an interior cabin, but I picked a deck where it was kind of central. So it was near all the stuff that you would go to. And I ended up getting put somewhere low. I mean, it was obviously low on the ship because it was an ocean view room. That was the upgrade. He upgraded from an interior to an ocean view.
Okay.
Most of those ocean view rooms are like down on deck, 3 or 4, whatever the decks are below the balcony decks. So anyway.
All right. I think we need to kind of spice this up a little bit. I'm
all right.
falling asleep over here.
Well,
you're doing all the talking.
Nobody. I mean, we don't have that many folks come in tonight and chat with us about this stuff.
I know.
All right. Next up, inclusivity and accessibility. I think, didn't we mention this briefly?
What was that?
I'm not sure what that was. Something beeping at me.
Are cruise ships are they truly accessible for people with disabilities?
Some people argue that there's still a long way to go in accommodating all travelers.
My only thing, I mean, again, I can't talk so much about this because I don't know enough. I mean,
for us, I couldn't say.
But the one thing that I could think that maybe they have a long way to go, and I think it's just because of the ships, the way that they're made, is that they're not very wide, and so if you need like a motorized vehicle or
you've
bigger,
got a scooter or something like that, and I'm sure it's difficult to get through some areas.
Right, and so I would think
we're recovering from yesterday and last night. Yes,
that's it. So I think that would be one of the things that maybe.
Yeah, I know that they do have accessibility cabins on pretty much any ship that are set up for handicap access, things like that.
But we really can't speak.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I don't really know because I don't have any accessibility issues, I guess you would say.
Yeah. So if anybody does have some information on this and wants to for us to talk about it or wants to be heard, let us know and
chime in.
Yeah, definitely put it in the comments.
Definitely talk about it. All right. Next up,
we've already talked about this.
Yeah, hidden fees and extra charges. I think we did talk about that a little bit.
We did.
Because you're going to have gratuities and, when you book your cruise and you've got that price that they say,
it doesn't include
$400 per person.
Include this, and then
and okay, then you add your port fees and your taxes and then your gratuities and you want a drink, and of course that's going to be extra. And you want to go do something when you're in port, that's extra. But I mean, it's like anything else. I mean,
you can still pay a fair price, if you do your research,
right?
And stay within there because you don't have to go for the extra stuff.
Yep, you don't. I mean, other than gratuities. You don't have to, and you don't have to pay the gratuities, but you should pay your gratuities.
Well, you're going to pay them anyway, one way or another.
You can go to guest services and have it removed from your bill.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, are you going to screw over your cabin attendant who's, making sure that you have fresh towels and clean sheets and everything else? No, I'm not going to do that. That's pretty low class to do that to somebody that depends on tips. But we talked about that, about tipping last week.
We did. Safety protocols and health risks.
Safety protocols and health risks, post-pandemic.
I will say this, and it's not really health risks per se. I mean, I guess if you're prone to that, but we talked about this, the germs and the cleanliness. So my aunt just went on a cruise, like a 3 or 4 day cruise, and she is very, very sick, like in bed sick with strep throat and all that. It's not COVID, but she is really, really sick. And how many people do we know that go on a cruise or even travel for that matter? Okay. Or just go out and come home sick. That happened to you. the last time that we went on a cruise. I didn't get sick.
Yeah.
But he did. So like, how does that happen? Like, so you get it, I don't get it. Yeah, right. And so I was with him, and I didn't get anything. But there were times where I wasn't feeling well when we came back. So so that's if you want to talk about safety risks, maybe that can fall into the whole germs category. But I mean, what do you do? Just try and wash your hands a lot, or
that's about all you can do.
That's it. Unfortunately, I think that's a risk that is never going to change. You're either going to get sick or you're not, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. Next up, limited onboard medical care. Yeah. Well,
I can't speak about any of that.
I can't speak about it, but I mean, they've got a clinic normally on one of the lowest decks you can get to.
And what it says is with minimal medical facilities and staff, serious health issues can be challenging to handle on the high seas.
Yeah.
And I could see that. But that's why they would call in the transport, some sort of air lift.
Call in the Coast Guard or something to get you off the ship and get you back to medical care.
Yeah.
Or whatever it happens to be. That's why you always have travel insurance that would cover that.
It's always a good idea to get travel insurance.
They may be taking you to some foreign country where you're at least stateside, U.S. stateside insurance isn't going to cover stuff. You have to be prepared for that. Yeah, and Down Under said it's a clinic, not an OR room.
And people need to understand that it's a clinic. It's they're just going to be able to contain it the best they can, and then get you ready to move on. Oh my God.
Okay, so Down Under also said,
missed that one.
Hang on a minute. The company needs to pay the right salary. I should not need to supplement someone's wage. Okay. They could do it that way. Virgin Voyages does it that way, where your gratuities are included. But then again, their cruise rates are significantly higher than anyone else's.
Well, and that's a good point. So, like, is somebody willing to pay a higher cruise rate to include all of that, or not?
I think Disney may do that as well.
Maybe.
But I mean, it's just the way it's set up. So they could pay them more, but you're still going to pay for it somehow.
Right.
They're not just gonna pay everybody more. It's just going to increase the cruise fare.
Because it's got to come
one way or another. You're paying for it.
Yeah.
And if they're handling the money, probably less of it's going to get to the person that deserves it anyway. So
yeah, let's hope. I'm gonna be positive on that, and hope that everybody gets what they should, what they deserve. Well, not what they deserve, because nobody can get paid what they deserve, but
some people get paid a lot more than they deserve. But
okay. Controversial topic number 50.
That's not a controversial topic.
We talked about the
we know how that goes.
People
two people getting paid the same thing. One is doing all the work. The other one's sitting there playing on their phone or hiding out in the bathroom. You know how that goes. You've worked places like that before.
I'm like, are you saying something?
No, I'm just saying that.
Yes. Some people are.
That's human nature.
Yes. We talked about the alcohol and beverage package.
Yeah. Dress codes and formal nights.
Okay, so let's see what it says. As some ships loosen formal dress codes, debates arise between those who love the tradition and those who prefer a more casual experience. Now, this is a perfect topic for Corey and Lori, because Corey is Mr. Casual. He doesn't want to dress up. He wants to wear his shorts and t-shirts.
I'm on vacation.
Yes. Whereas I, especially because we live in a rural area, there's nowhere to dress up. I mean, I wear t-shirts and jeans and hiking boots and all that on a regular day. However, I like to dress up and I like to go out, and so this gives me the opportunity to kind of dress nice, which I don't get to do very often. And of course, the clothes either they don't fit, they're tight, they're loose, they're old, they're older than our grandkids, but put together. But whereas Corey's like, nope, No, thank you. Let me wear my sneakers and my, my what are these things called?
My cargo pants.
Yeah, to dinner, and I'm good. And so that's where the controversy comes in, because everybody's so different that way.
A pair of slacks instead of the
is
shorts
this a
I've been wearing all
shirt?
day.
Maybe.
Yeah. Collared shirt. So we also say all ships out of Australia do not have gratuities. Well, yeah, and we talked about this last week. It's a cultural thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tips can be given, and we do tip, but I do not expect to supplement someone else's wage.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a cultural thing. I have to wonder.
What are those? What? Are you gonna put it up?
We talked about this before too.
Budgie smugglers?
Budgie smugglers.
Did we remind me what that is?
If I understand correctly, I think it's like, Speedo type underwear.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
But I digress. So yes, I can understand how that's controversial, because some people like that tradition, like to dress up.
Yeah.
And
it used to be, it was a coat and tie.
Correctly.
Coat and tie, or formal night was the whole tuxedo and all that kind of stuff.
But you made me a promise. Do you remember? Let's tell the whole world.
Well, we've got some friends that on formal night, they actually wear, like a formal dress and a tuxedo. And what did I say? I said, I
mean, if you don't say it right, I'll remind you. But go ahead, what'd you say?
That when I get to where I want to be,
when he gets to his goal weight.
All right, my goal weight. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
That
where I want to be. You can change that at any time.
That I would buy a tuxedo and then I'd bring it with me, so that
that he would wear it for formal dinners.
I would wear it for formal dinners, yeah.
So y'all heard it here first.
Where the heck I'm going to put a tux in our suitcases, I don't know.
Well, it's going to take
I don't
place
have room for much else.
Yes, well,
most of the time.
I did good. Wait until you see. I'm so proud of myself. I'm really, my shorts don't take up much room, but
good. Yeah. So there we go. They got the name Budgie Smugglers because someone was caught going out of Sydney with some live budgie stuffed in his Speedos.
Yeah.
Had a budgie as a kid.
I don't know what a budgie is.
The little parakeets.
Yes, I did hear that. You may have told me that story. Okay. Yeah. Yes. And then I felt really bad for the budgie being smuggled down up in there. Or down under there. Like up in there.
I don't know. I'd put a budgie in my underwear. My pet budgies bite my finger. Ow. Only imagine what they do in your underwear.
Okay, next topic.
Yeah. Moving along.
Yeah, give me more.
All right, single-use plastic waste, plastics and waste. Well, anymore, most of the cruise ships that we've been on are using paper straws. They do come from down under. Yep. But some of the restaurants would serve things on. I don't know that.
I'm not sure you get much paper or plastic.
Yeah, I don't know that you
because even the cans, on Holland, they gave you cans of water, not bottles of water.
Yeah, so aluminum is recyclable, better, more so than plastic.
And one thing I will say is the food. Who's telling us that they do something with the food? Like they don't waste the food. I forgot what they do with the food. But like all the leftover food, or they don't just waste. They don't just throw it out. They actually do something with it. I forgot what they do.
Watched that.
Maybe that's how I heard it.
Yeah, where they were talking about that one time. on that, whatever the MSC ship was.
Yeah.
Where they went through like the whole ship and showed all of the different departments and, how they dealt with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was food waste or sewage waste or whatever.
Right.
Which was
so they're taking steps to really reduce some of that wastage.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it used to be, it just got pumped over the side into the ocean, but they don't do that anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I'm glad they don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
For
Nick,
sure.
that was a quick one. We talked about that. Next, nickel and diming.
Yeah.
Overbooking. Oh, okay. Here, you kind of mentioned that.
We kind of talked about overbooking a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there have been times when people have gone to board the ship and told that it was overbooked.
Well, isn't that what they do on the airplanes? And they're like, "Oh, we're going to give you all this money just to let somebody else go in your place."
And thinking that,
we
somebody's not going to show up or won't be able to
Yeah.
make it, and then we can switch people around and get them in the rooms. I mean, it kind of makes sense to make sure that all the cabins are full, but at the same time,
I mean, I'm okay if you're really going to give me something worth it.
Yeah, if someone doesn't show up for their cruise, guess what? They already paid for it, so
yeah,
the difference doesn't make. But yeah, and I told the story about me getting upgraded, which
there's a cat on my slippers and he just bit my foot.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate coming in.
The feedback
and
definitely some of the information that you gave us, and keep us posted about your group cruise too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next up, the size of mega ships versus small ships.
Well, we are going on a smaller ship this time, and the next one after that, we're going on a mega ship.
Yeah.
I will say with the mega ship, that was really nice. It was just the way that it was laid out. It was really nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going, it's New Amsterdam's what, like 2,600 passengers?
Oh,
something like that.
Never mind being upgraded. I never mind being up. Yeah, as long as it's a good upgrade, I'm good with that.
Scott says, yeah. I mean,
but if it's like, oh, I upgraded you, but we gave you an obstructed view. Well, no thanks.
Right.
I'll take what I got. So.
See if I can get it.
All right. Well, you're doing that. I'll read what it says. Yeah. The debate between mega ships with their endless amenities versus smaller ships, which offer a more intimate experience. It's ongoing. What do you guys think?
Ship stats. There we go.
Welcome in,
all right.
Raylu. Did I say that right? Because I can't see very well.
Raylu 69. Yep. Welcome.
Good evening. Thanks.
So yeah, New Amsterdam is 2,106 passengers.
Okay.
So that's on the very small side, or fairly small.
Right.
For a modern cruise ship, regular cruise ship.
And for those that have missed that, we'll be on the New Amsterdam on Sunday.
Yes, we will. And then in February,
then we'll be on the mega ship, the Icon.
Back on the mega ship on the Icon. So completely, you've got an old ship to a brand new ship.
And you know what's exciting about these two, the next two cruises that we have?
Is we've been on both ships before.
Yeah, and we get to compare them both because there's well, I am going to say there's going to be differences, but I don't know what they are. We'll see. The New Amsterdam, we were in Alaska, now we're going to the Caribbean. The Icon, we were on the inaugural cruise, that first cruise where everything was amazing and awesome. And now we're going a year later.
60% capacity or something.
60
to 80% capacity.
Yeah. So now we're going back on like a year and a month later.
Yeah.
And so, let's see. Yeah. How does it hold up?
Comparisons between the two.
That's going to be some fun conversations. So you guys definitely have to stay tuned for that. But all right, back to your regular schedule program.
All right, so
controversies.
The debate between mega ships and all the different things that they have versus small ships.
I like the options.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't like big, but the Icon was laid out so well that it didn't feel busy at all. But again, like we said, it wasn't at full
It
capacity.
wasn't at full capacity. We'll have to see what it looks like.
That might my view might change on that.
Yeah.
You know, I like Corey said earlier, I don't like a lot of crowds. I'm short. I'm less than 5'1". So, you know, when it comes to a very crowded area, it's not pleasurable for me because I can't see anything. So
I mean, but on Icon, think about it. There were times, even at 60 to 80% capacity, we'd try to go see a show, or
we had to get there early.
Watch this, or see that. And even at the smaller capacity, some of those venues were just, you forget about it.
Yeah,
like the piano bar.
You had to get there at least an hour before.
Yeah, you got to get there an hour before. You weren't going to get a seat. So.
That is a downfall on the big guys.
Well, I mean, that's a downfall on any ship, really. But on Icon, the only reason I'm mentioning it is because it was not a full cruise.
Oh.
If it's a full cruise, who knows?
Well, we'll keep you posted on that.
Get to any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Do you guys have a preference? Anybody that's listening or catching us on the rerun, do you have a preference? Do you like small or do you like large ships?
Do you have a preference?
No.
Not
at this time.
I do either.
Because
there's fun stuff to do on whichever one you're on. So.
Yeah, and I think New Amsterdam was the smallest ship. Well, no, Freedom was pretty small too.
Yeah,
I had some issues with that, but it was the first one, and I did feel like there was a few things. It was kind of.
Yeah, there were some areas of Freedom that.
I try my best. It's family-friendly show.
Yeah. There were definitely some areas in Freedom where it was.
I felt a little bottlenecked at times.
Some bottlenecks, yeah.
But
that was a great thing about Icon is the way it was laid out. Is that the traffic areas were just so huge.
Well, and Raylo 69 is talking about they haven't been on mega ships, so. That's kind of what Corey is saying, especially with the Icon. It was so huge. It's so wide
very wide,
you could actually, if people were, were kind of walking real slow and, they stop, they talk, they look, you can just go right around them and then whatever. Yeah. And then, so they had a balloon drop and it was pretty packed. And I was like, come on, Corey didn't want to go. He was tired. It was a long day. And I was like, come on, let's do it. And I positioned myself in an area where if it got too crowded, I could just go behind everybody and leave. Yeah. And I didn't have to. It actually was not bad. I mean, it was crowded, but I was
it was packed. It was crazy.
It was fun. I mean, I want to do that again.
It was on the Royal Promenade.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, it was. And that's very, very wide. They could park 3 18-wheelers next to each other in that Royal Promenade. That's how big it is.
It was a big one. It was a big one. But all right. Anyways. Thank you for that feedback and letting us know about that. And I'm not sure I have a favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I like the variety that you get on a large ship. So many different places to go eat. So many different activities to do.
Yeah, but sometimes it's too much.
Sometimes,
especially if you don't have enough time.
Right,
and it gets stressful because you want to experience everything, but you can't. And so with the smaller ships, maybe you have a little more leisure time.
Yeah,
I think there's good and bad on both.
And it depends on the cruise too. Like when we were in Alaska, we didn't do much of anything on the ship.
No, we were outside a lot of the time.
We were outside a lot of the time, looking for wildlife or, viewing glaciers and all the other stuff.
I've been posting Alaska pictures, so I gotta
on our Instagram.
Yeah. I think on my personal, but I'll do it in both. But anyway, all right, moving on. Oh, this one's a controversial one.
Children on cruises and adult-only spaces. I think we've been through a lot of these.
No, we didn't talk about this because this is very controversial. Yeah. Children on cruise. So it says some cruisers prefer a child-free experience, Well, others argue that cruising should be family inclusive. This can lead to tension over shared spaces. Oh, hey, Mr.
And then
Taylor.
there's Mr. George Taylor, our friend who is traveling with us.
Yes, you
on
see,
Sunday,
he's
and
bringing,
he's bringing his tuxedo.
George and his wife Miru will be with us on the birthday cruise. I'm very excited. We have goodies for you.
Oh yeah.
Can't talk about it though.
We
Not yet.
got stuff for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So children, now see, Corey and I don't have any kids living at home with us. They are all grown with families of their own. And so at times, yes, we like to travel with just the two of us.
Most of the time.
Right. But other times they just said, hey, well, let me back up. So we went on my birthday cruise last year, which made this like a thing now. Now it's a tradition. So I need to have a birthday cruise every year. But they came with us and we had the best time. We really did.
It was a good time.
It was wonderful. But they kind of did the family thing. We did a little bit, but they were doing the family thing more than we were, and then we would meet up later. But they just told me again, and they have a 3-month-old child now.
Yes.
That happened on that cruise.
Yeah, in fact, I think
the drinking package just happened, so be careful.
Happened on that cruise.
Yeah.
Charlie Mack was just born on
in
our
August.
most recent cruise.
Yes.
August.
Oh my God, we're sitting in a show, and Corey and I couldn't sit with each other because there was no room. So we sat in front of me, and I sat behind you, and they texted you, right? I think. And
remember.
like you handed me the phone, and I'm sitting between two ladies, and they're like, "Hey, we had the baby." They're sending pictures. The whole show, I was on the phone, like, "Oh my God, how's mommy doing?" And I was like trying to, figure out everything. And I'm like, "Oh my God, these ladies are like,
I'm sitting up there.
Why are you going to come to a show?" Like
running the camera.
But yeah, it was very exciting for us. But
get video of the show. But.
So they just said that they want to go on a cruise next year around November time. So, so it brings up the whole kid thing. So now we're looking to book a cruise that's better
for kids,
for families and kids. So we're kind of going by what they want.
Yeah.
So. But I could see both sides,
I can. And, if you want to cruise without kids, there are options.
There are.
New Amsterdam or Holland America is kind of known for not having a lot of kids.
Stuff, but it's not catered like Royal Caribbean.
There's nothing catered to kids other than maybe they've got the daycare
Disney,
and stuff.
I think those are the two big ones. And guys, add some other stuff.
Royal Caribbean, Disney, sure. But Norwegian, Carnival, all of those have lots of things for kids. Ruth says, I see both sides and agree with both.
Yeah.
So we've kind of been on both. We haven't been on a Virgin yet. A Virgin is no kids allowed.
Right.
But, pick what you want. Personally, even without kids, I kind of like having some of the fun stuff.
Because we're big kids too.
Yeah, we're kind of big kids
like
ourselves.
We went on all the water slide. Well, not all of them, but. And so here's a fun story about
Odyssey. Even though we had the kids, I love the fact that they had the bumper cars on there.
Yeah,
that was fun.
True. That's true.
And they've got the huge water park on Icon.
Yeah, that
was cool. So
yeah. And here's a fun story. So in St. Martin, I guess it was 2 years ago now, we went to the what's the name of that place? It was the adults only. We chose the day that it was the adults only. I forgot the name. And so we're like, oh yeah, this is great. We're gonna go and let's check this out.
Lottery
we're thinking it's gonna be chill, relaxing. It's gonna be so nice. No, it was huge party, like major party.
with thumping music, and it's like, man, I just wanted to come out here and relax.
Yeah.
In this jungle pool, and
so adults only areas might not be what you think it's gonna be. Just putting that out there too. So, all right.
So let's get
what do we got? Oh, we're almost out of time.
We are almost
pick
out
a
of
good
time.
one. Let's see.
Travel agents versus direct booking.
I mean,
well, if you've got a travel agent to work with, that's probably your best bet, especially if they work for a larger company that's got, because if you can get in on a group cruise and get some of the perks and benefits that you get from those.
I mean, let me shout out Kendra here for a moment, which when she gets back, when we both get back, we're going to have her back on Travel Planners. So with the kids, now I just mentioned that they said they wanted to go next year, right? So Corey and I are fairly easy. We're like, okay, I don't care where we go. We kind of want to do this and then, whatever. And then she looks and boom, it's done.
Right.
Well, the kids have some specific areas or what's the word? It's not like specific things that they want.
Yeah. They want a certain price range.
They want kids sale free, this, that, and the other.
Kids sale free, all those kind of perks and things.
Right.
Yeah, you could go out and probably figure it out yourself.
Right.
But if you work with a good travel agent,
like Kendra,
it's not going to cost you more. You'll get just as good of a deal as you could going through whichever cruise ship's website.
And so she's busting her butt to, find what's going to work best for everybody involved. And, she's been back and forth a couple of times. So that is one of the perks that I would say by working with the travel agent. Yeah.
The cruise line pays them a commission. Okay. Yeah.
And they know more than you know.
And they do. Yeah.
They look it up,
they've got a lot more knowledge on these ships than most individuals do.
And for the most part, you're not paying much more.
Yeah.
If any.
No, you're not going to be paying anything more using a travel agent. I mean, I think
there may be
in
certain,
most places
certain things in certain areas, but
I think there are some states where it's legal for them to charge you, but most of them do not because they get a commission.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right. Shorter cruises versus longer cruises.
I mean, it all depends on your time frame and what you want. I like that there's options. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming in and catching us live. We will see you next time. We are almost out of time ourselves.
Yeah, we don't like to keep you guys more than an hour because we try to be respectful of your time. So
yeah.
But I would just say a lot of these things go with the fact that there's options and I'm glad that there are so many options. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but at least you have a choice,
Right. I mean, me personally, the 3-4 day cruises, that's too short. It seems they're mostly booze cruises.
The short ones.
Yeah. So it's the party cruise.
But they're more affordable.
A week, 6-7 days.
I kind of, a week is sometimes not long enough.
Yeah. Sometimes.
But then again, we can't be away for that long. So it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
Like on the Icon, 10 days probably would have been perfect.
Yeah, that's for sure. As large as that ship is. And we did everything we possibly could to see that ship. And we still had areas that we never got to.
No.
So
yeah,
we'll have to go back and do some of those.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
And if we can pull off a live stream on Sunday, we will. No?
A live stream on Sunday?
Yeah. At boarding, when we go boarding.
Did
you say you wanted to do that?
Boarding day. Yeah.
We could try Wednesday night instead. I don't know. We'll try to do something. But, Corey, my IT guru over here, guru. Is that better? Is like guru? Like
guru. Yeah.
Well, I know, but is it?
Is what?
Nothing. Anyway, I'll call you the guru. I'll make it masculine.
Okay.
But if we can figure it out, then we'll do it.
Yeah. I'll probably just have to use the phone.
Okay.
I was trying to use her other camera and
then the microphone didn't work and all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned. Yeah. Thank you all for coming out.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. We are out of time.
George, if you're still listening, we'll see you on Sunday.
We'll see you on Sunday, George. And I don't know if any of our other friends are watching. Probably not. Say hi to Mary for us, George.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for another midweek.
Thanks for coming out and listening to us. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yep. And from peaks to tides.
We'll see you on the next ride.
Bye, guys.